All right, what's up, everyone? This is Sam, coach of your Great Lakes Grimmsnarls, and we are back again for the VBA Season 3 Johto Division PRs now. We just did Kanto like 20 minutes ago, and we are back ready to hammer these out. So admittedly, I was not super familiar with the Kanto teams going into it, but I'm a little more familiar with Johto teams, so I'm hoping maybe my rankings are a little bit more accurate. Why does it keep doing? Oh no, what have I done? Okay, cool. Um, so yep, just like before, we're gonna go in draft order. Um, I guess I'm dropping these at the same time, so talking chronologically doesn't make sense. But we're gonna go in draft order, starting with first, going through 12th. Um, and yeah, we're just gonna analyze the teams. We have a tier list template made here, and we're gonna be ranking the teams S, A, B, C, and D. Um, just keep in mind, these do not include. I should have said this at the beginning of the last video, but I did not. These don't include coach playstyle. These don't include. This does not. These don't factor in matchups. It really is just an objective, like look or attempt as objective as I can be. Look at the tools that a team has, the typings, the options with like leads and damage output and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna get started here. Not Kanto. We're gonna close Kanto. You suck, Kanto. So first we have the Bolton Bashers. Their first pick was Rillaboom, and from there they drafted a very very scary team. Um, so this team, this team is really good. Um, I don't. I like almost everything about this team. In general, like the damage output is going to be really good. Magmortar does a lot. Archeops before it gets its defeatist off does a lot. Um, Golurk, hits decently hard. The Trick Room mode here is pretty good with like even Pangoro's maybe a little fast for it, but Golurk, Golisopod, Slowking Galar. Slowking Galar is amazing in my opinion. I really like that mon a lot. Magmortar's a great tier 3 pick. Um, Kangaskhan's one of the best fake out users in this format. Like, really, this team just has, like, answers for a lot of stuff. Comfy, I'm not normally a huge fan of Comfy, but in a non max format on a team with grassy terrain, I think it's going to be really scary because Triage is gonna make it, and Triage plus Grassy is gonna make its Floral Healing's priority, and then having Grassy Surge up is gonna make them do like, is it 2/3 or 3/4 or something? I forget. It's a lot though. And I love Pangoro in tier 4. Like all of these picks I like. The only pick that's like a little questionable is Altaria, but even then, it's a tier 5 Tailwind setter. Like, it only doubles up. He only doubles up on flying types, and they're both Tailwind setters, which I don't really mind. Overall, like, he missed an ice type, and that's it. He got every single other typing available, which is really nuts. Um, but yeah, this team, it hits super hard. He has good bulk. He has good type coverage. He has good type matchups, like defensively. Um, I think we're just gonna start off strong and put this in the S tier. This team is really good. Like Rillaboom alone is busted, but drafting like this around it is even crazier. All right, so second pick here was the Dutch Drapions, and they took Dragapult as their first pick. So, so this team is pretty good in my opinion. It's pretty solid. Some things to note, in my opinion, about this team. 30 and 160 is a very good spread of speed tiers. Torcat's a great fake out user, and then Mr. Mime is a good secondary option for that as well. Um, Togekiss, Lucario, Dragapult is a really strong fantasy core in my opinion. Firewater Grass Core leaves a little bit to be desired in my opinion with Maractus and Slowbro and Torcat, but it's not bad by any means. They're all useful in their own right. Um, Ninjask seems weird. I don't know how much I love Rotom Fan in this format. with no max, but it's definitely not bad. Um, the ice matchup is a little rough. He has 6 ice weaknesses and 3 resists, which is like, yeah, that's rough. And 4 rock weaknesses. So the type matchups here are a little bit problematic. And I don't normally, I talk about type matchups more than I probably should, but I talk about them just to only when there's like something egregiously like, whoa, you can't have this many ice weaknesses. And I think this team is bordering on that. Um, if a team has freeze dry, it's hitting 7 of his mons, and if not, it's hitting 6. Just not slow, bro. And I mean, yes, Torcat's a decent ice answer, and Lucario's a great ice answer, but like that's a little rough in my opinion. Yeah, the ice matchup here is rough. Like he's gonna struggle against teams with like a blizzard mode or like a strong ice type in general. That being said, like the Dragapult Lucario Togekiss core is super strong. Um, I dig the Obstagoon pick. He also did really well covering a lot of typings. So where am I gonna put this one? I'm not a huge fan of Ninjask. But he does have Dragapult as well. I think I'm gonna throw this one in the. I'm gonna go A or B. Um, I'm gonna put it in B, and we may move it later. So third pick were the Trixie Tricos, and they took Garchomp as their first pick. Which is as I said in the last PR, a really good pick in my opinion. Starting off like Garchomp Charizard is an amazing like spread damage combo, as well as the option to like Meowstick, Prankster, Psychic Terrain, and then Starmie Click Expanding Force. Those are like all like he has some of the best spread damage in this league. Aggron Rock Slide, Toxicroak is phenomenal. Gets Faint, Fake Out, Quick Guard, and then like decent offense at 106 and good stab combination as well. Trevenant's a good Trick Room setter. Like really the one. No, I'm not really worried about this team's speed control. Actually, I kind of don't mind it. The TR mode seems a little underdeveloped to me, but I'm not really. I don't hate it either. Um, Aggron I think is usable in this format. Maybe not like super busted, but it's definitely usable. Um, I do like his like spread of typings. Again, he also only missed an ice type, which is really nice. Um, yeah, I think Absol is great in a non-max format. I think Licky is good. Like I think he like really took advantage of like all his picks, and he got good stuff like all around. I didn't even talk about some of this stuff, but Carbink and Vikavolt I think are super great. Vikavolt can work under Trick Room. 43 is going to be slow enough for a lot of matchups. I think this one's a pretty easy A tier. I really like this team. All right, next up are the Pittsburgh Steel types, and their first pick was Incineroar, which, as I said before, I agree with. Um, so that being said, I think I said this in the Kanto PRs as well. I don't love Togepi in this format. I feel like you bring it and it does nothing a lot of the times because redirection is less important in from what I can tell, what I've seen so far, out of like non-max formats in general, is redirection is a little worse in my opinion. Like to me, in a max format, it's almost like necessary, like needed. Um, but I don't think it's like I don't think it's definitely a lot worse in this format, and I honestly don't think Togepi justifies a tier 4 slot when it's like only clicking follow me and then dying in 2 turns. I don't think that's very good. At least with things like Butterfree or Tangrowth or Tangela, like you can click Sleep Powder, or Butterfree can Tailwind, or like Togekiss can deal damage. Togetic is like mega bulky, but Togepi doesn't really do any of that, and I don't really love it in general. Um, the type, like the coverage of types they have, I think is pretty good. You're missing a grass type, but rock. It'd be nice to have a ground type maybe, um, but I don't think it's like a huge problem. Uh, in general, this team is pretty good. Weezing is really annoying in this format. I would know. I just prepped for it last week. Um, Weezing is really good in this format, in my opinion. Jellicent is one of the more consistent Trick Room setters because its typing is really good, and it's just so bulky. Um, Munchlax I don't mind. It's not the best tier 5, but it's not the worst by any means. Unfezant is his only Tailwind setter, which it's not ideal, but it's also not awful. Base 108 speed. No, it is not 108 speed. It's 93. Sorry. Base 93 Tailwind is not the worst thing in the world. He's gonna get it up if he needs it to, in quite a few matchups. I didn't mention Haxorus yet, but I really love Haxorus in this format. Um, Maybe a little worse than in a max format, just because you can't max. I think max Haxorus is really good, but other than that, I mean, Galvantula is really great. I think it's one of the glue pieces on this team. Like Electro Web, base 108 speed was so annoying to prep for. Yeah, overall, I don't think this team is like, it doesn't scream busted to me. Miltank feels weird. Um, BHM is fine. Caparage is really great. I think I'm going to throw this one in B tier as well. All right, so next up is the Sussex Sableye. Wait. So the Sussex Sableye took Indeedee female as their first round pick, and again, I keep feeling like I'm repeating myself, but I'm really not, unless you're watching both. Which thank you for watching both if you are, both PR videos. But if you're normal and only watching one, Indeedee is like the best redirector in this format, maybe the best mon in this format. Um, it's really really good, and overall, this team got I like Slurpuff on an Indeedee team. Ninetales Lilligant is fine. It's not the strongest Suncore, but it's definitely an option. And Lilligant is already base 90, so getting chlorophyll boost means you can hit sleep powders and all that. Sneasel is one of the better fake out users because it has inner focus and it's fast as crap. Um, there's some picks here. Like I don't love the Quagsire pick, but it isn't awful either. He'll get some use out of it, I'm sure. Um, Armaldo, it looks like it's just like a Trick Room, or just deal damage type mon, which is I think fine. Slowking is a great Trick Room setter. Quagsire feels weird to me. I feel like that could definitely be something else. Um, because he already has Slowking for a water type and Flygon for a ground type, so I feel like if I were him, I would trade away the Quagsire and try to find something more useful at a tier 5, but there honestly might not be something that useful anymore. Mana Buzz I like. Support-wise, it does really well. It's bulky enough to get Tailwind up most of the time. I don't love how slow it is to get Tailwind up, but base 80 is doable with its bulk. Ninetales, I really like Ninetales. The damage output on it is better than I think a lot of people realize. Um, base 81 special attack is not high, but with Sun Boost and stab on fire moves, so Heat Wave is really good. The spread damage in general in this team is gonna be really strong. Flygon Earthquake, Rock Slide from Armaldo, Expanding Force from Indeedee, and Slowking. That is a good mode for this team. Indeedee F plus Slowking. Ninetales gets good spread damage as well. Yeah, I don't. I shouldn't have gone back to this tier list format because it's hard for me to like rate them like relative to each other. I think this team is good. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. We're gonna go B tier for this one as well. All right, next up is my team, the Great Lakes Grimmsnarls. I'm not gonna go too in depth on this one. I took Cinderace first round. I think Cinderace is good, and I think people who are saying it's not good in this format don't know what they're talking about. But other than that, um, I'm happy with how my team turned out. There's some issues. I've made 2 trades already that I think help it out a lot, but I'm not talking about trades right now. Few concerns that they've already been mentioned in other PR videos, but lack of spread damage is a big one. A lot of physical presence and not a ton of special presence, which you know, uh, it's definitely true. Like Will-O-Wisp hurts my team a lot, so I'll admit that. But Reuniclus and Noivern can do special damage. Haunter as well. I'm not super worried about that. I'm not worried about having 2 NFEs on this team because I don't think I'm going to be running Eviolite on Haunter very much. But it definitely could happen when I'm not running it on Thwacky. Um, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about this team. I think it's pretty average. I think it's also B tier. We're probably going to move some of these B tiers. I don't like having so many there. All right, next up is this team. This team got like half of my team. It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy how that happened, but um, so they took, believe it was Hydreigon round 1, and then they took Aegislash round 2. Um, so this team, the first thing I notice about this team is he took Tangela and Marowak, which were in tier 4, and they should not have been in tier 4. Like, they really should not have been in tier 4. I don't know why they were there, but they're insanely good value. Like, yeah, they're really, really strong. Talonflame is not the best. Not the best. I don't know. It's hard. I have like my own personal biases against Talonflame because I feel like Gale Wings kind of sucks, especially with like I checked and literally every team in this league has Fake Out. But I don't think it's not bad. It's definitely good. It's just I have my own personal vendetta against it. But again, it's not bad. I think Aegislash is great in this format. Hitmonlee is like absurdly versatile in this format. It gets Fake Out, Feint, Wide Guard. It gets Unburden, which on this team he has Terrain, so he can use it. I think Pincurchin is a great take, in my opinion. Rising Voltage does a lot. Zing Zap does a lot, so you can run like Coaching even alongside Aromatisse, which is one of the best Trick Room setters. But apparently he took this only for screens, so that's what he told me at least. So that pick doesn't make sense to me. There's better screen setters. I guess he's setting Trick Room with Swoobat if he's setting Trick Room. But we all know Raz. He won't set it with. He won't set Trick Room ever, right, Raz? Um. All right, where was I? I was busy making fun of Raz. Not making fun, poking fun. Tough. We'll call it tough love. Um, but overall, this team is really solid. He got tons of good value picks. I think there's some typing things here and there that could maybe change, but I think Caracosta is a good tier 4. He got really really good value out of his low tiers. Like Delibird's not super useful, but it's also not useless either. Um, overall, just the value he got out of tiers alone. Aromatisse tier 3 was nuts. Hitmonlee tier 3 was nuts. I think Hydreigon's going to do really well in this format. Yeah, I think we're going to throw this one in the A tier. I really like this team. All right, next up is the Clinton Clefables. Um, so the Clinton Clefables took no, what did they take? They took Dracozolt first. if I remember right. But the first thing that this team has going for it is Sand mode with Dracozolt Gigalith. And then on top of that, it has Milotic for a very good competitive user. On top of that, it has Tangrowth, which I think is a really good redirector. Hatterene, which is a good Trick Room setter. Purloin in Tier 4 is very, very good. I don't know why I said Lairon is 25 points. It's definitely 0. Purloin is very, 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 very good value for Tier 4. I do think Lanoon Galar is a little weird here. I think that could probably... I think he actually did. Did he? I don't think he did yet. Maybe he did. I think he did trade it away. But, Dusknoir is a really great Trick Room setter. Also getting Frisk, gives you a lot of information for draft. I don't hate Fletchender. It's not, absurdly good. I mean, I just had this talk about Talonflame. But in Tier 4, it's pretty solid, in my opinion. Lairon is weird, but I think he traded that away. But Lairon doesn't make sense to me. Rotom Frost is fine. It's not great, but I feel like one thing about this team in general is, yes, there's a lot of physical presence, but he has answers for it. He has Milotic, he has Hatterene, because Hatterene bounces back Wisps. Milotic gets competitive boosts. So I think Rolo built around his sand core really, really well. I really like this team. I think, again, like I said, he drafted around his core very, very well, and I think Dracozolt Gigalith is going to do really well in this format. We're going to throw it in the A tier. All right, next up is the Carolina Berserkers. So, let's see. So this team, I believe they took Arcanine first. Again, I could be wrong, but I think it was Arcanine. That being said, so this team has a lot of cool, good picks. So one thing, so this team has cool picks, right? Like Ryalu, I think, is great in Tier 3, I think Arcanine, Blastoise, Decidueye is a pretty cool Firewater Grass core. So where my problems come in is speed control is going to be a little inconsistent for this team. No Trick Room setters, and Mantine is the Tailwind setter, which I'm a Mantine believer, but Mantine can only do so much. It attracts a lot of 4 times weak moves, or 4 times effective moves, I should say. I was convinced on Combuskin. I didn't realize it got coaching. It's not a bad coaching user, but he has Ryalu, so I'm not... I don't know why it's there, but it's not the worst Tier 5 ever. Overall, there's just a general lack of synergy to me. The ground matchup here is pretty bad. Stoutland is fine because he's Intimidate, but I really would like to see Stoutland on a team with... I'd like to see Stoutland on a team with Sand as well. It's fine that it's not. Same with Mantine, it's fine on a team without rain. That one's more so actually fine without weather. Berserker's great in this format, and I like that it's the mascot too. Overall, there's a lot of cool picks here, but and again, I could be missing it, but I don't, other than Lightning Rod with Mantine, coaching into whatever, Mamoswine. Mamoswine's a great pick, by the way. I will say that. But I just don't see a lot of synergy here. Also, most of this team is physical, and he doesn't have a ton of ways to deter people from spamming Intimidate and Will-O-Wisp. Raichu's special, but it's not doing very much. I guess Decidueye can be run special. And Mantine. Yeah, like I said, not great. Blastoise too, but the special damage output in general is pretty low. So I think we're gonna throw this one in the C tier. It's definitely, I think it's below these B tier teams. Next up is the Flint Flareons. So they took Whimsicott as their tier one, and so okay, so this team is kind of odd to me. Um, this is another team. I don't know how this happened, but both teams that took Driftblim didn't take it with Terrain, which I find really strange to me. Like it's really weird to me. Um, but that being said, like I think Porygon 2 is considerably, it's not worse. I don't think it's, Porygon 2 is so great, but if you go against a team with Porygon 2 and don't bring Taunt, there's something really wrong with you. Like, yeah, it does damage. Like, don't get me wrong, I know it does damage. But like, I don't know. It's gonna be a fine Trick Room setter, but it's not gonna be the most consistent. Obviously, you have like basically the best Tailwind setter in the format, which is Whimsicott. Um, I like Whimsicott plus Rotom Heat a lot. I don't know what's going on with the Raichu here. In general, doesn't make sense to me without Terrain. It benefits so much from Electric Terrain and Psychic Terrain, and neither are present on this team. Um, Raboot is weird. Flareon is weird. I get that it's the mascot, but why? Like, I don't know, man. Like this Ghost matchup, and like just bring Rock Slide against this team and win. Like no wide guard, one resist, and it's right on. Yeah, bring Rock Slide against this team, and it does a lot of work. Yeah, there's just a lot of teams here that don't make sense to me, or picks here that don't make sense to me. I really don't get like why there's no Terrain. Uh, I like Vaporeon's cool, but overall, like it's just there's no, like almost no synergy. Like Whimsicott Rotom Heat is super great, and everything else is just kind of meh. Um, to me, like together, there's great picks, right? Like Vaporeon's cool. Drifblim is a great mon with Terrain. Porygon 2 is cool, but they don't mesh together very well in my opinion. I think this is probably a D tier. All right, next up is the Miami Minchinos. So they took Grimmsnarl round one, and then Ninetales on the next pick. So I don't know why it says Stunfisk Galar. Is it legal? Um, okay. Well, ignore that. Stunfisk Galar is legal. Um, Weird. But yeah, so this team, to me, I don't quite understand some of these picks. Like Grimmsnarl is great in this format. Grimmsnarl is really, really good. But like, why on the same team as Ninetales Alola? There's no Hail Abuser here, other than Ninetales itself. Crobat is obviously a great Tailwind setter, but I don't want to say that Ivysaur and Zweilous feel useless, but they kind of feel useless. Like I guess Ivysaur can click Sleep Powder, but what is Zweilous doing? Like what? I could be ignorant. I very well could be ignorant, but I don't know. I don't know what it does. I don't think it does anything, but I could be wrong. It does have a base four. It does have base stats equal to 420 though. Um, what is going on with this? But why is it? I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, I don't get this team. Like again, there's cool stuff here. Like Grimmsnarl is great, Ninetales is great, Crobat is great, Metagross is. I didn't even talk about Metagross. Metagross is phenomenal in this format. But like, what is supporting? I mean, Metagross Crobat alone will mess people up. If you can get screens up and then get Metagross in, that's gonna mess people up. But like, to me, if you're going against this team, if you beat Metagross, you kind of beat the team. Like it's not doing a whole lot to me outside of Metagross. And again, I could be missing something, but to me, like there's just no obvious like we're bringing these two mons, or we're bringing, other than like Crobat Metagross is going to be like insanely good. Grimmsnarl next to like most things is good. Chinchino is fine. Chinchino, whatever. And it's kind of a mascot pick, so whatever. But like, yeah, I also don't really like this team very much. I'm gonna throw it in the D tier. All right, next up is the Coughing Smokers, our final team. So this team took Volcarona round 1, and then Nidoking on their wheel. I forget what they took on the wheel, but so this team, I think Volcarona is really great. Um, I do think you need. I think he could probably do with some more solid rock resists. Slowpoke Galar is not even a Pokemon. Um, I don't care what anyone says. It's not good. Palisand is fine, but the lack of like some kind of really consistent proc on it is weird to me. Like Barraskewda, you don't want to be doing that with Barraskewda. Volcarona and Barraskewda, I think, are really cool on this team. Corviknight is also really good. Um, it is the only Tailwind setter here, but Barraskewda is base 136, Volcarona 100. The speed tiers are pretty fine. 136 down to 35 because Slowpoke doesn't count. Anyway, I think Sableye is a super underrated prankstermon. Stonjourner is one of the best tier 5s. Like, I like a lot of these picks. This is the same as like the last like 2 or 3 teams, I think. I like a lot of the picks. I just don't see like why they're together. Nidoking is great. Barraskewda is great. Volcarona, Sableye, Corviknight. Executor Alola is fine. I don't think it's phenomenal, but it's not bad either. It's not a consistent Trick Room setter because of its typing is so awful. But Sawk is fine. This team is hard to rate. I think I'm going to throw it in the C tier. It's not as bad as these two, I don't think. It doesn't have as many problems. These aren't. I shouldn't say that. These are not bad teams at all. Like none of the, I don't think any of these teams are like horrible. But yeah, that. Oh no, we should order it first. I do think. These are in that order, and then probably Sableyes are the best. I think, yeah. So I think this is the order I'm gonna go with. Yeah, this one was hard to do. Bolton Bashers are definitely the best team in this division though, like hands down. No argument. I don't see any argument that would convince me otherwise. But hey, if you have one, let me know. I'm sure. Yeah, let me know if I missed something. I can't cover everything. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. If you watched both, I appreciate you guys checking my stuff out. Sorry for the. I know my stuff is not always the most professional, but I appreciate you guys watching anyway. Again, and just keep in mind, PRs. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm not even saying your team is bad. Like just because you're in D tier here, your team is not like the teams are not bad. Like you're gonna get wins. I think the Minchino's already got a win this against the Bashers. So things happen, right? Like just because I rank someone high and then rank someone low, it's not indicative of results at all. It may, I mean, there may be like general results that are similar, right? But like it's not indicative of like, oh, you got rated low, I think you're gonna do badly. It's just that maybe you're gonna have to work a little harder, and maybe some trades could help out your team. But yeah, if I made any mistakes, if I said something that wasn't true, If I said something you disagree with, if I said something that you thought was pretty cool, let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and thanks for watching.